Hey guys, this is Steve with the String Doctor again. Back again with our third episode. We've got the new to me Mexican Telecaster again, talking about it today. Remember the first one, we set the truss rod, did a nice setup on it, changed the strings out, changed the pick guard, just did a general cleanup on it and everything. Really got it playing and feeling nice, and sounds really nice and all. Of course, that's just our bridge pickup. And today we're going to talk about putting a four-way switch into one. And everybody's heard about four-way switch wiring for a Telecaster. Very popular modification. Fairly easily straightforward modification. Doesn't require a lot of parts. The only part you have to buy is a new four-way switch to change it out. All the pickups are the same. The controls are the same. You don't even have to change the position of the capacitor in it. It's just a few wires. The only thing added, we have to add one wire to the cover of the pickup, and we'll show you how to do that in just a second. But just to give you an idea of the sound. Of course, your normal Telecaster, the bottom position on the switch, or position number 1, is your bridge pickup. Then, of course, that's both of our pickups running in parallel with each other. It's traditional Telecaster wiring, and finally our bridge pickup. But we had a fourth position up here. The target's a lot fatter. To give you my comparison, this is both of them in series. In parallel together. Target's louder, a lot fatter. This Telecaster is still kind of quiet on it, still not going to be as loud as a humbucker, but it makes it think it's got a humbucker with two coils running in parallel to each other, and it does kind of some hum. Put a little dirt on that, make it a little crunchy. Again, this is both our pickups together, and in normal and series wiring, parallel wiring rather. Foot up here, we're running a series. Gets a lot rowdier, a lot more crunchy. It gives you a fatter Telecaster. I mean, yeah, you can buy a fat Tele that already has humbuckers in it, but you know, when you get into that, that's to personal taste or whatever. But you start getting into humbuckers and a Telecaster, you lose a lot of that nice twangy, that high sound or whatever you get out of a Tele, and you start getting into more of the sound of a darker sound like a Les Paul or something like that. And that's all about preference. Me personally, I want to keep a Telecaster, like the aesthetics of it and all, and that kind of thing. This one is kind of a mule. It may eventually get a humbucker here in the neck, kind of an Albert Collins type thing with black pick guard. I always like that look with the big chrome humbucker there. You know, kind of a Chris Robinson thing from the Black Crowes. Big fan of his style of playing. And he had that jangly Tele sound, but he, you know, on the first record especially, it had that big old chrome humbucker in it. Just a really cool. It was blonde Tele. It wasn't a natural ash, but it was really close to this. So I'm kind of imitating our heroes a little bit and all. And that's what it's about. It's about making the guitar your own and doing what you want with it. That being said, we'll get into this, show you guys some of the tools that we'll use, and then finally we'll show you how to pull the cavity out of this thing, change the switch out, and do all of our wiring. Right, and we'll also show you how to pull the pickup out and how to add that third ground wire that you use, because it doesn't ground the same as it is now. You do change some stuff around to get the switch to work right now, because it changes something with shielding or something. I have no idea how it works. I just know how it works, and I know how it's supposed to sound, and I know I like that tone. So anyway, that being said, we'll get on the workbench and we'll get in this thing and we'll see what we're looking at and see if we can't hopefully improve some things and all that's already good, and we're going to try to make them a little bit better. Okay guys, now that I've got on the bench, the first thing that you have to do is probably loosen up your strings, and might even have to take them off to get the pickup out. Of course, some Teles are going to mount down to the bottom. They're not going to mount the pick guard like this. This one, just about to take the strings off to get out. I've already done that, because you've got to take the pickup out and add a third wire to it, to the pickup, and run it down here to the control cavity, because you have to have an extra ground on the side with the normal 2 wires on it. You shouldn't have to pull the bridge pickup out. You don't need to worry about which wires are which. Well, I have already wired a third wire on this for a ground. I added a red wire to it when we first got this guitar, refer back to the first video, where we pulled the pick guard off and changed it out with the tortoiseshell one that was on it. I went ahead and pulled the pickup out and made a video of how we add a third wire to it to run here. I'm going to stop the video here, and we're going to add that in so you can see how to wire that. And we'll be back in just a second. Okay, guys. Well, once you get into putting in the four-way switch, this guitar does not have a four-way switch. It's just a standard Telecaster three-way. It is a Fender switch. No, and I know the first thing you're thinking is, well, that's not the Tele we're working on. No, it is not. This is actually just a standard Squire Affinity with a kind of a custom finish. We'll talk about this guitar with some other stuff later. And it's just a cheap Affinity. We put good electrics in, some nice parts and all. It's kind of, and it's a fun guitar to play. Nothing special, but anyway, getting into the pickup. The back of your Mexican pickup is going to look a little different than this, so a little bit better pickup. They don't have this single big magnet and stuff like that in it. You'll see the pole pieces, but anyway, when you get into it, what you have to do is this comes somewhere off of this cover. So that's the chrome on the cover there. Usually, I'll scrape it right here and then run me an extra ground wire, or it ends up being the ground wire the way you run it back to it. But I had my third wire here, run it back through the cavity. Oftentimes you'll have to pull the bridge off of the guitar to get the wires down through there and take the strings off and everything. But anyway, you run that thing back down through here and run it back in the cavity where you'll do your work. Oftentimes on Fender pickups, there will be another ground wire running somewhere on this cover or on the stud soldered back into here. If you have that leg in your pickup, clip it out. The only thing these two wires should be connected to are these two terminals that run to the wires. They're very fine, you can barely see them, but they run to the windings of the pickups here. That should be the only thing they touch. They should no longer be grounded here to shield it. And that third wire goes here, and then you can put your pickup back in your guitar, and we're done with the wiring here. Matter of fact, you can put your pick guard back on it, because everything else that we're going to do after that will be done down here in the control cavity as we get into the switch and switching that out, and that's what we're going to do next. Now we are back again. We've got our old trusty #1 screwdriver here. We're going to take the control plate out of this thing. As I said, we've already done the work on the pickup here, and we'll show you where that wire comes into play in just a second. Get the control plate out. Here we go. Alright, let's pull this thing out and take a look at it. Once again, this is that third wire that was added in the other video. This one's pretty straightforward. This is our bridge pickup on these two wires, and that is the rest of the neck pickup wires right there. And we're going to start. Get our soldering iron fired up. Going to refer back to our wiring diagram. It will be laying here most of the time when I can see it. Pretty much we'll just follow it completely. I'm going to orient this thing the same way as what we're looking at here. Make it a little bit easier to do. Switch. Alright guys, it shows our capacitor running here, back here. It's also already grounded here. I'm just following my wires, but okay. Well, first thing we got to do is desolder this switch, and we're going to do that now. Oh, and again, I forgot to mention the desoldering pump. It will be used quite frequently in this deal, and we're going to start with that here. Again, simply put, get you a little bit of heat on your wires like this. These cold solder joints might take a second to get hot. And once you sit liquefied, stick your sucker down there, and you'll probably have to clean it off quite often. Okay. This one's being a little bit stubborn. We're going to heat the wire up. We're going to pull it off of there. Alright guys, pretty much we're going to finish desoldering this switch, and might just use our trusty old clippers and clip the wires. Should be plenty of wire in here, just kind of be careful and cup them down there close to your work like that, because we do want to save the switch. This is a genuine Fender switch. It is a good three-way switch, may get used again later. We're going to clip this off and get this guy out of here and get our wires clean, and we'll be back in a second. Alright guys, we have got the old one out. It's just 2 screws as you pull the knob off. We're going to set off to the side. Here's the new switch, you know. I'm going to put it back in with the same orientation. I pulled the old one out, had the little fiber plate or whatever facing this way, and put this one in exactly the same way. Again, it's just simply stick it through the hole, and 2 screws. It comes with that. For this, you actually need a number 2 screwdriver. I failed to mention that because the number 1 end's a little bit too small for this one. But once you get your hole started, your screw started, okay. It's supposed to be a self-tapping screw. They kind of got a mind of their own. Bit of a pain. Anyway, we're going to get the switch in, the knob on, and we'll come back. Okay guys, getting back into it now here, it looks like we've got to make a couple of jumper wires. We've got to run one between these 2 terminals here. And it looks like we've got one between these 2 right here. It's those 2. And finally one from this side, the second one, back over to here. And so we're going to keep it oriented the way it is, the white one there. We are not, let's see, I'm going to solder all these in. We're just going to make the wire to start with. I don't have any white wire, so I'm going to use a little red 20 gauge hookup wire here. This one's pretty simple. Again, we're just going to use our strippers, 20 gauge. So this is our first jumper. It goes on the 3rd lug here. Again, use your little needle nose to make as positive of a connection as you can before you solder anything. That'll help hold it still later. Have this wire that is on the outer lug of the volume that runs over to this first terminal here. So all we're going to do is strip this guy back where we cut it off a little bit. Not a lot. They gave us plenty of wire on this one, so I'm not going to rewire everything. And we're going to tie that one in the same spot there. And again, okay, that guy's already ready to go. Take some of our regular 60-40 rosin core solder. Again, rest in peace, Radio Shack. And again, we're going to cut up here on the terminal. We're going to heat our work up, not our solder. Right there next to it, no, you'll know. Sometimes you got to touch the iron a little bit, but you know when it's ready because it'll start taking the work. Float it down there and just fill that hole up nicely. Okay. Well, let that cool a second. Use my needle nose, twist this wire around because this bad boy is hot. After we have our jumper wire and this connection made, we haven't soldered that hole up here. The other side of it access to the rhythm pickup. Rhythm pickup, of course, being the neck. This would be the white wire on it. We're going to go ahead and strip it back. We're going to tie it in right there. Still again, see that's 3 wires together right here. And we are going to wire it in right here. We're going to get our work hot again, or solder again, and bring this guy in right here. ground wire that was connected to the back of it here, coming off of the rhythm pickup now, actually comes up here and wires to this first terminal on the switch. And you also got a jumper from that one to that. Okay. Okay. Just taking a little tiny piece of black wire to make a jumper. Let's see what the jumper you have. Three-way wiring. There's a ton more jumpers on this guy here that I'm not real sure, but okay, I'll take it. Jumper wire. All right, so wow, the jumper we just placed between these two terminals, there is nothing else that runs to that, so we're going to go ahead and solder that guy in. Yeah. See if we can orient our soldering iron where we don't make such a mess. Ooh, that's hot. All right. I'm going to trim my excess off before going any further with it. Okay guys, let's go back and review our work just a little bit. Of course, we did not mess with the wires on the input terminals. They stay the same ones. We ran this jumper here and this one. We still have to make one more when we get to there. The bridge pickup is still connected to the ground. We didn't change that. We've only got one, the white wire on it. It's actually showing running off it and running to this first terminal. I'm going to go ahead and hook it up and get it out of the way. That's a nice, simple, easy hookup there. Okay. Okay. That takes care of the lead pickup, guys. If you do this, take you a highlighter or something that's cute. It's pink. Mark some of the stuff off. Like I said, we've already done this particular jumper here. Those terminals done. This one is done. We've wired up the lead pickup here. And we wired the white wire on the rhythm pickup here. And on this jumper. Actually, no, I told you on that one's not done yet. See why you gotta do this? Anyway. Alright, this is where we've got to run another ground wire off of here. As I said before, there's a little bit extra wiring in this. For this, we're just going to get another piece of 20 gauge white wire. We've got a little scrap piece here that I'm borrowing from. Give it some soldering. Get a nice little blob of it going on this here. Can get a potentiometer hot enough to take soldering. It takes patience. I mean, you really have to get the sucker hot to make it take soldering. And sometimes when you do it, still doesn't want to take it well. Like this guy doesn't. Now we got that thing hot enough here. The one that I forgot the jumper on, these two, because the back one stays open. This one. Alright, we gotta run this ground right up here. Alright, I want you just a little bit, okay? The jumper. Take my needle nose here, I'll very gently twist these guys toward each other. Okay. And bend them toward each other a little more there. And we're simply put going to stick this guy right through here. Okay, instead of doing a jumper on this one, I'm just cheating a bit and run the wire straight to them. Just a little bit of finesse. Alright guys, instead of running a jumper, we just turn those toward each other. Got one wire running through them. A little bit less work. Again, heat your terminal. Turn that. Now, trim that just a little bit. Okay. Now that I went back and fixed what I had forgotten, see where we are. We've added this ground here that we needed. Just got one of the covers. Add this ground wire that we needed here. We'll right up here and twist those two together. Both of these connections are made. It looks like the only ones that we have left is the two, the former ground wire on the rhythm pickup, which runs up here to this last terminal. And then finally our red wire that we added to the cover. Come off that and actually runs back to ground again. So we're going to make these two connections and see where we're at with this guy. One go back. Okay. This should be our last switch connection. Alright guys, got one more connection to make on the ground and we are done with the soldering on this bad boy. And we get to do the fun part then. Fire it up and see how it works. Always my favorite part. Alright, again, gotta get this solder hot enough to take solder. Okay. It looks like we're done with the soldering iron finally. Alright guys, just flipped off our soldering iron, should be done with that. Now we're going to come back up here and check all of our wiring connections. We'll start with this guy here. This one should run to the lead pickup with a bridge, and it does. Black wire off the bridge, we didn't change it. It should still run back to ground, which it does here. And finally this guy here, we got a jumper, runs the white wire to the bridge. Jumper right here, this guy, and it runs back over here to the volume, the first leg on the volume. We actually didn't change it on this end. Jumper between those, this terminal's open. The last one jumps over to this side. One on the end. Use the black wire to the bridge. Of course, the cover grounds. Jumper here, and this one's open. Okay, well, according to that, our wiring should be right. We are going to flip our cover over and our excess junk around. Check our wiring and stuff while we're in here, all the normal stuff and all. Okay, guys. Make sure you get all your wires tucked back in there like they go. Make sure you got plenty of room. If you got to pull something there, make sure you got everything right. And once you get everything right, make sure it fits flush. Get your screws back in this guy, which we're going to do right quick. And should be about it, and I will be back shortly. Okay guys, well that pretty much concludes this one on how to install a four-way switch in your Telecaster. How to get kind of a fatter tone, make a fat telly out of it without buying a fat telly with the humbuckers already in it. And not give up any of the sounds that you're used to, that twangy sound. That's why you buy a Telecaster to start with. Hopefully y'all have enjoyed the content of this. No, please leave your comments and give me some feedback on it. Let me know what kind of repairs, what kind of question you guys have. Let me know what you'd like to see. What can I do next? And it's not all going to be Fender stuff, I promise that too. We can get some more things and all. And obviously, if you got questions about the techniques and the tools that I use, the different parts that we use and stuff, like I said, we try to pick out good quality parts without breaking the bank. Doesn't have to be the most expensive thing on the shelf, but you don't want something cheap you're going to have to fix twice because you have to buy it twice. Well, then you haven't saved any money anyway. Anyway, we will see this guy again. We will talk about it more again. Like I said, now we've installed a four-way switch. May change the pick guard out yet again and put a nice big fat humbucker here like we were talking about. If we do, we'll still keep our four-way switching, but in the fourth position and running a series, that would be a bit too much with a humbucker. So what we would end up doing probably is actually put a coil splitter here. We'll talk about how to do that too. When you go with the humbucker, you got to change the potentiometer, put a 300K potentiometer in it because it gets a little too dark or a little bit too weird, at times. That's really about it for this one. Join us back next time. We're going to talk about some of the different stuff and all. Question like, should you build a guitar? Should I just buy something and modify it, kind of like this guy? Or do I want to build something from scratch myself? Like I said, if you got any questions, leave them in the comments. Leave me feedback in the comments, good or bad, things that I can do better to make these videos better, more entertaining, more informative. Am I doing a good enough job explaining things and how to do things? Also, if you see some stuff that you like, any of the tools or the parts used here and all, I am an affiliate, and if you click on any of the links below, if you buy any of the parts and all, I do make a small commission for that. It does help me out. Does not change your price on the website. It's still the same price either way. They just help out affiliates for directing traffic to the website. If you do that, I would greatly appreciate it. Other than that, you know, like we said, keep tearing them apart, keep improving them, keep making them better, keep learning. Most of all, keep playing and keep our hobby alive. Thanks, guys. See you next time.